Hi, it's David here with Futures Trading. I see we have at least five people that's joined since the last video. Thank you guys for coming on board, and thank you, my fellow professionals who have been liking the material and getting that information out. Thank you so much, guys, for doing that. That's what it's all about. We're just trying to get some information to those that need a little bit of help in their trade and try to get them to, be profitable. I mean, get as far as they can, and that's what it's all about. And so, to my fellow professionals here that have been commenting and liking the material. Thank you so much, you guys, for being supportive. That's what it's all about, our community. Now, in the last video, Bitcoin here, I want to give you the NQ with the value now because I know over the weekend it's Bitcoin, So let's do NQ right around the 9:30 mark. I finished up what I needed to do, so let's take a look at this information, and hopefully we can get it to turn out. Now you can see in my thumbnail here where that was at, and we actually started it when it was down there. Now on Twitter here. Again, we were down in this area here, but after the video, you can see we jumped out of there. So if you weren't able to go and watch when we started it down here and you just saw the snapshot, I suggest you definitely go back and take a look at that video. And for those that watched the video and didn't know what had happened, well, here you have it. They definitely popped out of there. And you're more than welcome to come and join me here as well if you would like. Totally up to you. I'm on TikTok as well, but TikTok got some problems. They're I don't know, for the last 3 months they haven't been able to get me to be able to follow people. If you're new to the channel, this is what I want to do for you really quickly here, and then we're gonna dive into the charts. This is a must-watch list. So if you're new to the channel, this is some information for you, and you can kind of go and take that in. And of course, it's all about the universal price action trend as well as that price action method. I did add these market structures videos here because I had a fellow professional here requested that I do so, so I wanted to accommodate him as well. And again, it's not just my channel; it's for all of us, and that's the thing. We're all professionals here. Those that support, I mean, really go ahead and put that support there. I deem us as equals here. It's no, I'm better than you, you're better than me. I don't believe in that stuff. That's foolishness. All right. So we're all the same. And definitely in God's eyes. And I believe that's the way it should be. All right. So now I wanted to make sure that you know where everything is at. So here's the trend, here's the method, and then that's the universal chart scales. All right. So this is a way of going about turning points in the market, just using your chart frame. I'm not gonna dive too much into that, but and then I'm also kind of going about this too before I take a break in January and kind of just leave you guys to the channel. I'll still do an occasional upload, probably once every 3 weeks or so, just to touch base with you guys. But I wanted to go over trend failure tips. And again, the channel is all about trend. It's all about trend. I promise you, it's all about trend. But all I wanted to do was turn it upside down on its head. Let me slide this over so you can kind of look at candles while I'm talking to you. I wanted to turn the trend upside down for you so you'll know what a trend failure is. If it's not going to keep trending, it's going to fail. It's just the opposite. It's like the light. You cut it on, when you cut it off, the function of, what was going on is absent. And so now you get the opposite effect. And so I wanted to give you that so you can definitely understand it. And if you didn't watch the last video, I'm going to tell you this because it's kind of like the same. If you get an architect or you get a builder, each one of them will have a universal tool that they would use to get, the edifice built, whether it's a building, a home. Each one of them would use a tool. Now, if you're not someone that's a builder, but you still may build a dog house, you would still need a level because you need that balance to be there. You need it to, of course, hold the structure together, so whatever's in the structure can be saved from the elements or of course the cold. So you want to be able to get that done. Now let's and here's another section down here. I tried to put some of this together for you, kind of like walk it through. Some in real time, some is not. I covered the weekly here, so if you're a swing trader, I did that, and I actually covered that weekly in a couple other videos here as well, trying to bring it all around. But if you're new to the channel, just watch this video. I mean, I cover pretty much everything, but the primary focus of the channel is the no-touch method, the trend, and of course the chart scale. Now, the trading ranges, the static levels, absolutely other, important, and there are other turning methods there. So it's at least two other turning points there. I just got the ranges in this video. I'm not going to touch on the static levels. And I'm not really going to dive into that chart scale, but the ranges, you can see it in the video that we're about to shoot, and you'll see that's kind of important. What we're doing now is we're starting to dive into this, and that's that market structure. We're getting ready to go into that a little bit more in detail. Again, I've done videos about the market reversing. Now, live trades, I done them all. You can take a look. I've done like 1,000 ticks in one trade. That's I think it's this one. I think it's that one. And so you can just take a look at the live trade section. I don't do a lot of it because my finances are personal to me. And besides, when I get up here, I am using smaller size because most people, when you start to learn stuff, don't use a lot of size, man. Use one. I don't care if it's one micro, just use one. And then once you learn what it's doing and how, I guess implement the material, then, do as, your account allows. And I'm not going to tell you you need to use a lot or just stay within 10% or 5%, 3%. I'm not telling you none of that stuff because I think that it's just me that if you understand risk and how to use it, you can do as you will. And that's just the simplest way for me to put it. Now, when it comes to the community, me and you section, this is my services and what I offer. You more than welcome to take a look at it. Is at the bottom of the page because I'm not here for that, but it's down here. And of course, there's the indicator, and you're more than welcome to get that if you want. Now, you can definitely get the chart scale. You can get the statics. You can get the ranges for free, absolutely for free. I'm all about free. I want to give you some free stuff, so you don't have to purchase the indicator, but it's there if you want it. Now, let's talk about majority. Then we're gonna get in the chart. Really important word. I'm all about definitions. I love to present definitions to you guys because I read dictionary and I read encyclopedia. It is important to do so you have real context to words. All right, real context. People will tell you stuff and then they don't really mean what they're saying in life. I don't know if y'all ever ran across that. So it's really important to just kind of know when someone says something to you, it has a real meaning. And it's not based on interpretation, really. I mean, even though you can interpret it as such, but disappointment in life, and we'll talk about the chart, but disappointment can come from you not having the correct meaning associated with the interpretation. And so I want to make sure that when you look at the chart, that the meaning is there. So your interpretation of the chart is correct. All right. So now majority is more than half the total. This is the logic of the pattern. And this is all it is. You get the bar. You get the bar. Okay. The high of this bar, well, the mid of this bar is above this bar's high. Okay, let me get across here so you can actually see where I'm pointing. I know we got a white on white thing going here, white background, white crosshair thing. So white pointer, white background. Don't want you to be confused. All right, so here we go. The mid of this bar here is above this bar's high. Now that's the black floater. All right, this is the black floater. I'm over here now. It's on the black floater. I just pulled up these charts to try to put it together. This black floater is the mid of this bar that's moving right now. The mid of this bar that's moving right now, that's the mid of the bar. And that little black line is going to show up once it's done. It's going to show up and it's going to be below that bar. This bar should turn red. This should be a no close level. And a volume text is going to show up here. Now, this is reading you the volume. And yes, I provide that with the volume text, the levels, the NC. I know it's kind of compressor right here, but the NC, you can get the NC, the levels, the volume text. You can get this little volume floater thing. All of that. Now these are indicators I created too, but they're for the training. They're for the training, and they're measuring some really interesting stuff. But they're for the training. Now that this bar, there you go, it turned red. All right, so there you go, it turned red. This becomes the no close bar. There's the volume text there, and you can go back and rewind the video and take a look at all that work. Now I just got some better volume down here. I know that's a really popular volume indicator, and I think it's really remarkable, to be quite honest with you. I've looked at just a couple volume tools, and I think his volume, better volume, is pretty good. Do I use it in my trading? No, but I do think it's pretty good. I do. I've looked at it and I do think it's pretty good. I do. So, but the mid of the bar, okay, now the mid of this bar that was trading going up and down, up and down, okay, the mid of the bar clears the high. Potentially it can go up. Now, how far? It just all depends. You got to put everything in context. It can go just one more bar, or it can go 100 bars in that direction. It just all depends on where it's happening at. That's really important. And so the same goes to say with this mid being below that low, what you just saw, that means respectfully it can go down maybe another bar or maybe 100 bars. It just all depends on where it's happening at respectfully. All right. So I just want to tell you that. Now, when you see this scenario, Now this is the thing that I want you to know. Now on here, I got the NC. I don't have it over here. I don't. The NC would be here. You don't want them to close above there, hard stop there. It's over here. All right. So now it's best if they don't close above that bar. It really works then. I mean, it really, really works. Now, when they do close above this bar, I ain't gonna say it don't work. It just is a chance they can get past it. So the more you familiarize yourself with this pattern, you'll start to see, yes, it's better when they don't. That's all. It's better when they don't. And so the more you do it, you'll get a feel for it. All right. So now let's kind of get a eye on what they did before this big drop, and then we'll come right back. Now, let me tell you all the other volume stuff I got in the screen because volume, if you're using it, to me, just sometimes it can be a bit subjective, and I like to put in front of you universal information that will always show up. All right, I want to say that. So that way you're not left to try to figure out what's happening. All right. Don't want you to, struggle with that information. So I want you to know what is actually going on. All right. And so majority, remember the definition. More majority is more than half of the total, more than, the sum of the total. So it's more than it. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Now let's I forgot to tell you what's all the stuff. So we got a big trade volume thing down here. I think Big Trade, well, not Big Trade, but the MZ people, they got some tools. They do. This the only one I can honestly tell you I've actually pulled out and looked at several times. I still I'm okay without it. I'll just say that I'm okay without it. The platform, if you're a Ninja Trader platform, again, I'm not affiliated with none of these guys. None of them. I'm not affiliated with any broker, any vendor of any sort. So that's kind of why you should, in some degree, understand that I when I give you my opinion of something, I'm not being paid for it. And so when I tell you something, it's just because of what I think. And ain't no well, there's no one. Let me say it this way: there's no one incentivizing me to support their material. I don't really get into the other indicators that these guys have, but again, they had a have a footprint chart. I did put it in one video for those that like footprint. I did try to show you guys that. That was some time ago. And they have so much data on there. I thought they had one of my passwords. I mean, they have a lot of data on them bars. I can't keep up with all of that information. I'm older, so I can't keep up with all. There's just too much going on. So I like just a little bit of flashing red and green. Buying, selling is how my mind interpret it, and it's simple. And so hopefully, hopefully you'll see that that's why my videos are pretty just kind of they're kind of just standard with just a chart, and you may see a couple moving averages on them, but they're not necessary. So I did put a moving average here, just a simple moving average. You can use it. It's kind of in my daily videos. I don't really put it on the 1 minute chart, but it's a 15. You can, simple moving average. You can put that up there if you want. Totally up to you. And it's in this 5 second chart. This is a 5 second if you didn't know. This is a 5 second chart. All right. So that's all you got there. And then we have some profile here. And as I said in the last video, if you're new to trading and you don't know what volume profile is, I don't use this in my trading either. I really don't. Um, Profiling just kind of do this. You get a whole bunch of bars overlapping, and then you get this bell-shaped curve. That's all. So the profile get big. That's all. It's really just that simple. Or now I'll say this, or you get a bar that's jumping up and down so many times on a price level, that it'll build that bell-shaped curve too. So, and that's pretty much all it is. And then eventually it runs away, and then it thins out. And so it gets really thin once it starts running away. So this in here is them trying to trick you and deceive you, and that's what I want to help you with. Try to figure out what they're doing right before this rip in the other direction, and also whether or not you need to be taking trades from this kind of area if they come back. You see, and that's the other thing. Don't want you to get caught off guard by that. So kind of put the volume on the bottom for those that read it in this direction, and then some that read it this direction, and then you have uh, your high of the range, and then the low of the range, of that whole volume, and then you got your point of control in the middle. Now this yellow thing is another volume tool. Is like the highest volume on that bar's close, so it's not a POC. It's like the highest volume of the session, if you will, for that bar. Now Your profile may not look like this one, so if you go back and check your chart, it may not look exactly like this one because I actually entered a time in here that's more dependent upon my range time. So if you go and check your chart and this value profile didn't look like my, yours don't look like mine, you may be going with a different time than I am. I just put in the time of my range because that's important. All right, now let's see let's see what made for this drop. Okay, so we kind of went over this in the last video, and I just want to touch on it here with the 9:30 and New York, the New York time. All right, so they pushed down, they pushed up, and then they pushed down. All right. Now, if you watched the last video, you would see that we went over this very, very intently. And we're gonna try to do it just a little bit here. I ain't gonna hold you long. Let's do this, and then I'm gonna have to save this to default here. Thought I did that, but that's okay. Let's just do this. And then I'm gonna save it for default. Just give me 1 second, you guys. Let me do this while it's on my mind, because otherwise I'll forget. I thought I did it, but okay, I did. I guess I didn't. All right, so now the orange line here, okay, that orange line. Now let me blow this up. I'm gonna cover up these other charts just for a second so you can see it. This orange line here is beneath the low. All right, so this orange line, okay, is beneath that low. All right, so actually I got it up too high. It needs to be here. Do forgive me. All right, we're gonna talk about up there though. That's why I was pointing to that. But this orange line here is beneath this low. Now this is a pivot. This right here is a pivot. It pushed down, and of course it popped up. All right, so what took place up here what took place up here is your supply. All right, so that's your supply. All right, now the goal is to get you in the trade based on trend. That's the goal. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's your set. Actually, it was this one, 7. So it's supposed to go the distance of the trend. Now I know you're probably looking over there and saying, "Well, it was a trend over there. How do I know that it won't turn around and just come back and get me?" You don't know. And see, and that's the thing. You don't know. You have to trade what it's suggesting. That's all. You have to trade what it's suggesting. That's all. So you don't know. You have to decide. See, now this, okay, this is above this high. So this midpoint here is majority. We're gonna talk about majority. We're gonna talk about majority. Now there. All right, it's above that high. So realistically, they're back here. All right, so they're back here. Let's just kind of put this let's put this back here. Let's just kind of throw this back here just for right now, just for an example moving forward. And then we're going to go back to that real time. We're going to spend a little bit of time looking at the real time. All right, so we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at the real time. All right, so they're back here. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you can see, and if you want to compress the information, say you don't want to wait till it's way up there. Now I don't like one bar scenarios, so let's go with let's see if they did it with this one. Yeah, that ain't bad. I mean, it's right there on that high, so that's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, that midpoint of this run to that red bar is right above that high. So you could have caught all of that. You could have. Okay. That's the way of going about it. Now, on the way down, clearly, I mean, you can look over here and see that they had kind of that same thing going on to the downside here. They had pivot up here. I don't want to measure everything. I really don't want to do this. I really don't. Let's yeah, this is the pivot. And let's go. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that's beneath there, so they're definitely up here. Now you can do this little one in the middle if you want, but if you do that, it still would make sense. This mid would be beneath that, so that means that they're here. They pulled up to it. They kind of poked their head right above it. So that's why I say you got to make sense when it comes to something like this. Just make sense. I can't tell you everything, but just make sense. All right. And so they're up here. They're right in this area here. And if you want to just be safe, just go with that and see if they'll go ahead and turn around and give you the drop. All right. So they kind of was doing that this morning on the way down. But if they break the pivot, okay, so like here they broke it, Yeah, they broke it, but that mid isn't there. Just be careful because they won't go right away. Sometimes they'll stall you out before they take off and kind of grind you a bit. So now let's go with this one here. Yeah, that's beneath it. That's beneath that pivot there. All right. So when they lift up, just go ahead and take it out. Now here becomes the no close level. So wherever the fib is at, I'm just using the 50% mark. Wherever the fib at, that's the no close. The stop can be up here. Now, do you have to trade with a stop that wide? No, you don't have to, and that's why you would use the bar pattern, okay? And you would, use the bar pattern in relation to that information. So they get the drop, and again, if you see that this is here, they're down here. So just be a little bit careful. Maybe just take out half of that distance, if you will. If it can commit to at least half, take the half of the distance and exit. Or see if they'll make that run broad enough that the mid of the run gets beneath the pivot here. All right, just see if they'll do it. You can just see if they'll do it, or just wait and see if they'll commence to trying to erase this activity up here without committing to do this. See, this is a problem when they do, something to this effect, because then you know for certain that they're up here. All right, so that's a problem all in itself. All right, so now you can just go ahead and take a look at the rest of this information. I don't want to dive through all of it. Okay, so kind of had you know, this pivot in here. See this pivot in here? They lift it up, then they broke past it. Midpoint of this is below this low. They're right here. And definitely you kind of get that. You definitely, when they push out of this pivot, let's see if that work. And if not, we know what's going on. It's fine. If it didn't do it from this one, that's fine. Let's see if it did. Nope, didn't quite get there. Let's see if this one made the cut. Hold on. Got too many things on the chart, but I wanted to put a few things. So now you definitely got this pivot beneath here. They're up here. So, and again, use your discretion on how you do it. Again, there's ways that I do it, and I can't tell you everything, but there's ways that I do it. It is. Now, you can see this big run, and again, I'm gonna put this here, and then we'll take and go back. We'll take and go back and take a look at it on this break here. Okay, that mid isn't beneath. On that break there, that mid isn't beneath. On this break here, that mid isn't beneath. Now, if you want to go all the way down, let's try that one too. Still, it's not meeting the criteria. All right, so it's not doing it. When that happens, now just sometimes when it happens, you may be finding yourself in a situation where the majority is no longer with you. Remember, the majority is more than half of the total. It's more than half the total. So if you look at the volume material and you're trying to find where the scale is being tipped, this can give you a tip. It can tell you that the behavior is shifting. All right, it's really important that you understand that. Now, here's the problem that most people run into. You know, trying to do this, they'll wait until the market come back and want to get the midpoint. I argue that that's not the way to go about it, because now this is the logic. Don't buy the mid drop. Don't. And it's not to say it won't work. Yeah, sometimes they'll let you win. But have you ever seen times where they'll come past the midpoint, crush you, and then boom, they done took off on you? I'm gonna try to explain to you in a very simple reason why that could end up being the case. So from here, this is the no close level. All right, this is the no close level. Now, let me just give you the information this way. This the no close level. All right, so let's put that same fib here. All right, give or take. All right, so we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it from both sides so you'll know. All right, so give or take. And this is our run. So we're dealing with the run. Let's say it pivoted, okay, and then it took off. Let's say it ran, it pivoted, and then it took off. Okay. Majority. Okay. Let's look at that definition just one more time. Everybody learns different, and that's why I have to do it this way. Is more than half of the total. All right. So now, if more than half of the total of the volume inside of this move here, is able to get, you know, above where the market tried to push it down, right? The market tried to push it down. And more than majority, I mean more than half, the majority said no, we're not doing that. You have to know. Now this is just me telling you the truth. You have to know it started from down here because the price was headed this way and more than the majority said no, we're not doing that. And the proof of that is showing up. It's really that simple. The proof of that is showing up. What took place down here is proof that they do not want price to go lower. Because remember, they started from here, it went down. This is the result. That's all. It's the result. It started here. Remember, these guys right here tried to push it down more than the majority. I mean, more than half, the majority stepped in and said no. So it's happening from below, not here. And so this is why I say this is the no close. That's the hard stop. Because let's face it, if the numbers came in favorably for your direction to the long side, the majority is here and they're refusing to allow, those that's on this side of the fence to get past, I guess at least this price really to close now. Because if they had their way, they would close even lower, and they didn't. And so this becomes the no close level. And clearly they're going to defend this level here because, they're defending something. And so it would have to be where it came from. And so that's why I want you to understand the majority. It's really important that you do that. Now, you're more than welcome to try to sell it as it comes up. You can sell it here, and maybe it'll just flip and go. And I'm not saying that there won't be times that that'll happen. I could tell you why sometimes it would happen, but that's not what the channel is all about. The channel is about universal. So I want to tell you something that could really just ramp up your odds of getting your trade to run the other way. If you can get more than half, the majority, to favor your direction, okay, try to be in the trade as this bar is forming. Try to be in it from below that midpoint. Let your entry be below the midpoint and your stop away from it. So that way, when they come back up, okay, when they drive price back in this direction, they may give you a little bit of drawdown, but then it should go right back in that opposite direction. It should. Now, let's say if it's the run. Now, if it's the run, try to hold your trade for the trend distance to see if they can make the trend distance. Try to see if they can just make it straight away. That's some of your best trades to hold. If you can make your trend distance straight away, after making the trend kind of pop up, hit the COT, and then turn around and take off again. If they're able to do that, please hold your trade. You ought to feel just a little bit more assured because now it's a fractal alignment going on with your other time frame. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that you understand majority and how the word majority, when you take these trades, I want you to understand the logic of why this pattern will always work, and it's older than the market itself. And you can go and majority is important. The majority is important. It's really, really important. Okay, really important. Really important. I have you know that it's really important. Now, this ain't bad. It's just this pivot. This pivot is lower than this bar, so this actually won't count because this move here fell below here. Now, let's see. Let's see what we can do with this. It's not say they're not down here. It's just I would have liked the lows to be even. That's all. This bar, when it stopped, I would have liked for them to test the back of it, then shoot up and get that midpoint above there. All right, so let's see what we can do. We're gonna give it a few minutes. We're gonna give it a few minutes, just a few minutes here. All right, so let's see what we did on this push away from that range. And not quite, not quite, not quite, not quite. All right, so now here, clearly you can see this one. Yeah, so they would definitely be up here. Now let me just move this. Let's move this down to here. Let's move this down to here. Matter of fact, yeah, from there to there. So it would be, let's go, let's go with something like this. Let's go with something like this. I want to grab that pivot up above, but I don't think that's what we need to do right now. Even though I really want to just grab this one and definitely say, but let's do this because they lifted up and then they took off and then it's a base here. So if they were to make their way back up, you may see them stall here. Now, keep in mind, it's all in how they get there too. I want you to understand that it's all in how they get there. That's important, really important. But this is why you can end up getting the big bars, the overlap, the whipping, one time frame. And I'm using one time frame. I'm not using a lot of them. I'm using one. Okay, one time frame, respectfully. Of course, we have to tick down here 5 seconds, but I'm not really referencing any of this stuff. If you want to look at it while it's trading, it's more so just for momentum, like just seeing, if you can get that push, if it's there. Time and sales, you can look at this stuff if you want. That's kind of all of why I put it there. So you can just kind of look at the bar and see if there's some force in it and see if it'll push for you. But I want you to know when the market begins to slow, you may be potentially at a point where it can price flip. So, like, if it turned and it definitely got above here, yeah, you can probably see them all the way back from where they came from. Really, you got to just keep that in mind. I'm not going to go and dive too far into the hindsight here to get you involved into what's so far back. But I put some targets out, and they may be headed down to that 15,549, and there's some more down there, but they may be headed there moving forward. They may. All right. So now let's think about how far they came away. So they're coming from this far away. All right. So they're coming from this far away. Now, if they try to go and break the pivot, you know, clearly the midpoint is not going to clear this pivot down here on this bottom. It's not this one. It's not this one. Okay. It's this one on the bottom. All right. It's not going to clear it. So you may see that rotation, and I'm gonna stick around for a bit. You may see that rotation come back up before committing again, and this is where traders, get shook out of it. They get taken advantage of because it's all about majority. Can you get majority? Now the sooner the pattern shows up, the better it is for you. All right, the sooner the pattern shows up, the better it is for you. You have it kind of coming in late, and it wasn't on this high. You was kind of running into a bit of a problem. Okay, up here. Now, of course, you got patterns back here. Let's check and see what this high is. High 76.75. High 76.50. So they came in under this stop placement here by one tick. So high 76.75. Let me check this one too. 77. Okay, so no, they actually kicked it and went with this. All right, so they went with that. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. All right, so yes, high. Okay, so yeah, they actually went with this area here. You can see when it comes, and that's another thing too. I must say this when they try to come in soon, the sooner that they show up, see, they're not on the bottom on this one. They're not. They even tried to get in here really quickly on this move. That bar here, it's green. The sooner that they show up, the chances of it trying to turn on you is really important. So if it's on the turn, if it's on the turn, that's important. Then let's see if it'll rotate back up. Let's see. Let's see. Or will they put that mid below that pivot? Let's see. They've been getting really eager, you know, not so much here on that break, but they've been getting really eager, and so that's why you had that stall there, that back and forth, if you will, that overlap. You had that overlap. Now I'm just essentially telling you about the pattern that's on the channel. There's other price patterns that I know that's included, of course, in the price action indicators that I have. So many, there's a lot of them actually, and so you kind of go at it with a toolbox, and you can find entries all over the chart. But just using the universal approach, you can see them trying to get active because the sooner that they come in on these lows, not so much here, not so much here, but the sooner that they come in, you know, you can see that they're trying to, step on it again. They're trying to pick it up. Now, if they can absorb that and knock that out, then great. It's just the opposite. Remember, it's the opposite. If you can't trend, then can't reverse and start trending this way, then let's just go back and commit. Now, why are you becoming so eager on that break? All right. So why are you becoming so eager on that break? Now, once we get this candle here, I'll just go with it here. Now, again, there's a requirement when it comes to me measuring. There is a requirement, but I'll put this here just to show you. They're not even getting it beneath this mid, which this is not really what I want you to measure. I want you to measure this, but they're not getting it beneath that. All right. Now, if you go with the 1 bar, if you want to go with the 1 bar, you can do that if you want. I just know the 1 bar. It just depends on what type of trading that you're doing. I don't like 1 bars. I don't. But if you go with the 1 bar, they're up there. I don't like that. Take it from me. Just do it a few times yourself. Figure out what works, and it'll start to come to you a little bit. But there's again some requirements. I'm gonna just tell you I don't like 1 bars that much. You can do it that way, but I just don't prefer it. So let's see if they'll try to hit the long side. So if you're someone that's wanting to try to pick up something like this for a reversion trade, I'm gonna just kind of leave that there and we'll adjust it as it moves down because I'm pretty certain that this midpoint won't clear that low. I'm pretty certain of it. Pretty certain of it. And you can see that the volume, the dots. Now this is the platform stuff. I just put some numbers in, just like I put some numbers into this. I just put some numbers in, and they're important. Yeah, I'll just put some numbers in, and we'll see what the response will be. All right. But I'm pretty certain if you're looking for that counter trend move, use the midpoint here in relation. Remember, majority. That's what this midpoint is all about. Majority. Right now, the majority isn't favoring, the long. Oh well. Let's say the majority ain't is not favoring the downside motion for it to, just accelerate like it did here. So will this move become something large to this degree? It's not to say it won't go. I'm in no way am I saying it. I'm telling you, as you see this is this here, and clearly this run here, all of this is beneath these pivots. Look how far they're traveling. Okay, look how far they're traveling. Can they get that same effect without having them buyers try to overlap the activity again? That's the danger of it. You can kind of see the bars are getting smaller again. I would like to see if they can get this midpoint beneath. If they can get it beneath here, that'd be interesting. But definitely, I want to see if they can get it beneath there before you end up getting, that rotation. I want to see if that's possible. But on the way, you want to pay attention to the bar pattern, right? And then just, of course, play that. Just play the bar pattern on the way. Just play the bar pattern. Be careful when it comes to these breaks, because I tell you that the midpoint of the reversal is important. So this is like a hammer, like a hammer. Let me blow this up just really quickly here for a second. This is like a hammer. So the midpoint of this supposed hammer is right here. And they move down to the midpoint. They move down to the midpoint and then they jumped up. All right. So be careful when it comes to trying to, take trades through turns, through the when the market turns. Just be careful because sometimes, they'll do that. And then they'll, they'll come back, if they ain't gonna hold it, they'll come back and you can see how the volume increased here or the bars got bigger right into that midpoint and they picked up a little steam. Now on the pivots, if they decide to keep drifting down, I'll tell you this. On the pivots here, you want to see if you can get consecutive closes. I don't care what color it is, it don't even matter. Just see if you can get consecutive closes beneath the pivot. They were able to give you that. So that's 1, 2. Yeah, they can keep going. They can. I'm trying to see if this will land right below there before you get another rotation up. I want to see if that'll show up. Or per bar. So you want to try to do this too. I try to give you enough information to keep you in your trade so that way you're not shooken out. this is just another way I'm trying to expose you to maybe a possible trend failure. All right. You want to see if you can get too close beneath this bar's low. Now, I don't care what color these bars is. I don't even really care what color this one is. But if you're trying to go down, preferably red, and see if you can get two beneath that, that becomes the hard stop. Okay. That becomes the hard stop. All right. Now, you can't get too close beneath this low. You didn't get too close beneath this low. You're not getting too close beneath this low. Maybe they'll pop back up. Now, clearly, you had too close beneath this low. So this bar, this makes sense. If they try to lift up, they can come back to this red bar here and then lean back over. But let's see if they'll give you the two closes beneath here. Let's see if they'll do it. All right. Let's see if they'll do it. Let's see if they'll do it, and then I would let you go and I'll upload this video and you will see can you get it done. So from this low here, you got your 1 2. All right. So you got your 1 2 there. Let me stay in draw mode really quickly here. And again, just wanted to give you your volume. I know again I have been getting questions about volume, and I wanted to get the 930 involved on the NQ because we did the Bitcoin. That's that's okay. I think people would like to see the NQ and definitely at 930 and how all of that would come into play. All right. So I don't know, people. I don't know. They still going. Okay, so now we're getting there. Now we're getting yep. Now we're getting there. Yeah. So now, okay. So here we go. Now this is something that I wanted to see right there. Get that midpoint, or otherwise you're gonna run into that problem. And you can tell they start slowing it down. Start slowing it down with them little teeny bars. Then again, that doesn't mean that it was going to reverse. I just wanted to see what would happen on that break if they couldn't get that mid beneath that pivot. That's all. And so when you see that, this is what I want you to start doing. If you're already in it, holding for your trend trade, because there's not 7 bars up here, it's not. So you should know that it should turn back around. 1 2, let's go 3 4, that's 5. I'm being generous with this one. I'm not even going to check. That's just 5. Okay, so it should turn back around. And they're not slowing. So yes, they're here. So I don't think they should make it up there. That makes more sense. I really didn't think that this would be a problem, them getting up there. I really didn't think that, but I had to put it there just based on they was trying to hit that turn on it. They was trying to, and I didn't know if they wanted to take that run. I wanted to see if they'll reach up there and then come back down. So now would definitely be something to this effect. So right in here, and that's something that you'll want to see. Oh, let's see, that's what you want to see there. The midpoint is beneath this low. This bar should turn red. And so the bar before the red bar is the no close level. I just don't have an NC in here. I just don't have it. I don't have it. And again, you can keep an eye on that the value. I know it's kind of getting trapped inside of the bar here. Let me open it up just a bit. You can keep an eye on the volume. It'll apply the volume there. See it, put it on that bar. And so that's yeah, so this will be something, and there's that high value for that that price level there. There's that high value level there. There's that yellow thing. So that kind of makes sense. If you like the profile effect, yeah, that's thicker if you're looking for that. But again, that's just several bars overlapping. It, they didn't come in immediately enough, and you can kind of tell you had your no close bar here, and you had the hard stop bar, and it was just kind of stalling. Even here, this is the no close bar. That's the hard stop. They dove down to it. They kind of pushed up. They responded here. Now, this is the hard stop bar. They pulled up to it, tried to rotate over, but it just didn't pan out. That was the no close bar. They played that for a little while, gave you the push. So they just didn't come in immediately. So this is the majority move right here. This stuff right here is important to me. And the sooner it shows up, the better. And that's why I tell you, like, have it show up on the turn. If you can get it to show up on the turn, I can't stress that to you guys enough. If you're going to trade majority, the sooner your majority comes in for your direction, okay, you don't want the majority to come in too late. Now, in this case, to me, I think this came in a little too late. I don't like them getting excited right at lows or highs. Don't really like that. That's just me. I don't really care for that too much. Because I know that they can do stuff like that. See, getting excited on a break, getting excited on a break. and then, boom, getting excited, they'll lean over on you. And sometimes if they do that, if they get, if they do that, you got to watch out. Just be careful. And that's why I'm telling you that you kind of want to see them show up immediately for your move. You don't want them to show up, like here. You see how they showed up here, headed into this midpoint, and then bang, they random stops. I don't want you to run into that. So just be careful. So when I tell you the sooner it can show up, you kind of want to make sure that it's showing up. You want it to show up here. And there's some other stuff I can tell you about that. But you want it to show up there. Showing up there for the move is absolutely wonderful. And then from there, if you can, get behind it. Get behind it, because it can do the distance of the trend itself and then revert. And if you've been following me for any time, you'll know that you'll get the trend distance and then it'll RTM and then it maybe give you the trend distance again. Or it can reverse, either which one they can end up doing it. But try to get behind it and trail it, if you will. And then that way it'll all come together for you. All right. Now, I hope that has been somewhat informative. And again, I'm not someone that use value. I don't. I just trade my bar patterns. I do because I know it's aged old. I mean, it's older than like I said, it's older than the majority has been around for almost everything has a level or a function of majority in it. Okay, especially when you're dealing with numbers. So majority is important. That's the main purpose of why I'm wanting to tell you about the pattern and why I want you to really consider it in your trading. It shows up before any gaps. So I know gaps are really popular right now. It shows up before any gaps. Any gaps. If I put that indicator on the page, I'm not going to do it. But if you want to go see it, you go back and look at. You can go back and look at this video here. I believe I put it on a couple different videos, but I'll show you one that I know it's in. It's in, I just want to keep that in view so you can kind of see it. If you want to go back and look at, you know, it shows up before this. Okay. It shows up before that right there. And so again, no bad light on the individual. Again, I respect all educators and all, professionals at their craft. But what I'm simply telling you is that it's late. Be the box. Be the box. Don't let it leave you. Okay. The information is very, again, it's very simple. It's not complicated. Don't make it complicated. Everything I teach is very simple. Everything. There's absolutely nothing that I would tell someone to trade that you couldn't see it over and over and over and over again on the chart. Very simple stuff. All right. So I wish you guys all the best with your trading. If they decide to lift up, you can go ahead and take a look at this area right here and see what it, commit to the downside. And again, they should be headed. And I'm gonna say this, I'm not gonna pull up the other charts. 15,549. They should be going to 15,549. The lowest that they can reach is actually down to 13,943.75. That's the lowest targets that I put online. So 15,549. The lowest that they can reach is 13,943.75. And I wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.